that people are always curious about is sex. What?
You're not going to tell them.
I would rather know who the penis is being shared with.
We all have our...
That's what we heard. Ashley, greetings and welcome back to those who have just joined us. This is Noteworthy. This is Amuna, React with a Purpose. I said I'm doing this little series, breaking down what we're hearing, corroborating the story, extracting some value beyond just, gossip type of vibration. And I said, you know what? I should go back to the first episode because chances are we didn't have the context for some of the things that were being said. Like, I would rather know who the D is being shared with. And according to Ari's testimony, she goes beyond knowing. She's in the same room, on the same bed, and present while the husband, Dimitri, is intimate with others. Allegedly. Let's continue to listen, and then we're going to go back to see if what Ari was sharing is lining up.
Own separate bedrooms.
Want to go big, Neo?
I know that when most people think about polygamy, they think, oh, that's weird.
Would you say a blessing for us?
Living as polygamists, we have a lot of love to go around, and I just don't see any reason to limit it to the family that we have.
We're ready to take this next step of seeking a sister wife together.
We're looking for a sister wife.
Yes, we are. Dating in a polygamous relationship is much harder than dating in a monogamous relationship. I'm mesmerized by you right now.
Do you believe in love at first sight? There's no need for me to be jealous because we're all partners in this adventure.
True?
She didn't look like she believed that. But she said there's no need for her to be jealous because they're all partners in this adventure. I'm gonna tell you what my theory is in a little bit. I said that last video, but I really am. But hold on one second. I'm gonna fast forward to their part so that we can get a little bit more to go on. We're back.
Let me swing. Climb up there. Oh, that breeze feels so good.
My name is Dimitri Snowden. I'm 36 years old, and this is my beautiful wife, Ashley Snowden.
And I am 31 years old. You got it? Dimitri and I have been together for 8 years, and we have 2 children together.
Our daughter, Nenu, is 5, and our son, Neo, is 2. And there's another one on the way.
Papa can't fit. That's going to leave a mark.
Dimitri and I met because I was teaching at the time.
I owned an IT company, and her computer.
Hold on. They've been together for 8 years. They have 2 children, 1 on the way. This is the first season. This is 2018. 1 on the way. And she's telling us how they met, and it's important how they met because the leaked text reveals some other things that we need to be mindful of with this conversation.
Computer was always broke.
Conveniently, but not intentionally.
That's how we met.
Where are you going to put your acorns? You need some place to put them. How about I set them right here?
I knew Ash was the one I wanted to be with because she's very adventurous. It's like, okay, let's just live life. And I really adored that.
Dimitri had charisma, and he was very intelligent, and he helps me be the best person that I can be.
We dated for 2 years and then committed.
Wait a minute. The part they're leaving out, or maybe I didn't do that part yet, of the text that she allegedly wrote was that what they forgot to tell us here, and according to what Ari is saying, when they met, he was already married. So she was the matey, as we call her. She was the outside woman, and she didn't find out he was married till after, and then she continued to be with him knowing that he was already married. So he knew that she was the one, but he was already married on paper to someone else, his first wife. So they forgot to put that part in there, so I decided to put that allegedly part in there because I think it's interesting to watch how the story unfolds.
Ourselves to each other.
You want me to hold you?
Mommy.
Can you imagine having 9 of these?
Yeah, no. 9's not going to work for me. You can at least have 3 more with another wife.
When Ashley...
Okay, when somebody calls children these, that means you're objectifying that child. or when you call women, or when you call men these, and you use certain terms that shows that you're not talking about a person, you're talking about a thing. He's looking at his children, his seed, his offspring, and he says, can you imagine having 9 of these? That's like thinking, oh, how many of these trees do you want to buy? These? I don't know. Is that me? Am I tripping? Am I reading too much into it? Or does these sound a little unpersonal?
Hear that? That means like, okay.
That means yes. Where'd he go?
Right there.
Oh.
There he is. I got you.
I don't have a close family myself. My immediate family is all over the place. We're not very tight. Didn't really get to grow up together. So when I was 23, 24, I decided to commit myself to understanding what a polygamous lifestyle truly meant, how to exercise it, how to live it. I just committed to myself that this was the vision for my family that I wanted to create.
Where's Neo? Where did he go?
So I want a noisy.
So basically, he told us that, and he comes later on in social media in present day, giving a lot of background. We even saw the issues with his family when he married Vanessa. But I think that's an interesting part that I have to explore at another time. Demetri, you are not leading me off the path, okay? We are going to continue on this path. We'll deal with the other background stuff later. Let's continue.
House,
Whoa, I got you.
babies everywhere. I just want like an epically big family.
Here, if you want to slide down, then you need to come around this way first. Come. Part of the reason why having a sister wife is attractive is because I'm currently pregnant with my third, and I think I'm at my capacity.
This video has been presented for me. It crashed my phone 3 times, but I am not going to give up, okay? We're trying to figure out something, okay? So apparently the place that I was streaming it from, it didn't like it. For some reason, it kept crashing my phone. So I found the videos elsewhere, and now I'm going to stream it again so we can finish this up and get back into the other interview.
I'm currently pregnant with my third, and I think I'm at my capacity with 3 children, so she can fulfill that dream for Demetri to have more children.
You guys want to drive your cars?
I think the importance in Ashley having a sister wife is support. Another woman, right, to bond with and to kind of empower.
No. Okay, stop. Now turn your wheel. Go to the front. Wait.
That's how you clean it up for TV, because the conversation that we're hearing on the other end, it was more than support and bonding, you know, allegedly. So when we come on TV, we could phrase things in a way where it sounds all wholesome, but we have questions.
You tell people that you embrace polygamy, and they're like, oh, I can't share my man.
Actually, the first thing we hear is, well, does the woman, is the woman with Ashley? That's actually the first thing. Or at least I hear that. Do you want your wives to?
I think that's the second thing. First thing is usually I don't want to share. And by share, they mean penis. That's what they're talking about. You want to put your shoes on? No?
A lot of people think that polygamy is a way for men to have their cake and eat it too. Polygamy is much more in depth than that.
I feel like there is room for expansion and abundance within that type of union. You have more hands on deck, so naturally you have a more supportive environment. There you go. No, that works. I am looking for a best friend as a sister wife. We'll be able to support each other through all of the triumphs and tragedies of life. Now make sure you stay in this grassy area, okay?
When you think about polygamy, people always think Mormon. They think Utah. We're not Mormon. We certainly don't live in Utah, and we're people of color.
You want to go see the mushroom that I
Is it
found?
me, or is this video playing weird and strange now?
These aren't the ones you eat, right? Clearly.
What is going on?
We've tried this lifestyle before. We did find someone that we really liked. She had children. We moved in together. And after about 4 months, we just realized that we all weren't a great fit for one another.
There's supposed to be balance. Some women say they're okay with this lifestyle, but in practicality, once it's exercised.
Yeah, it became clear pretty quickly that, she wasn't really interested in building a bond with me. And so we went our separate ways.
Ready, jump.
That's the part I endured all of this for. It became clear that she wasn't interested in building a bond with me. So my theory is that this person who fits the description of whom would have been fresh in their mind. Say it with me. This is 2018. She said the oldest was 5. The testimony of Ari is that when she got there, both of their children were 4. The very next day, she stayed there for 4 months. They pursued her that they really liked for 4 years, all these 4s, right? From 2012 to 2016, okay? And then she stayed there for 4 months and it didn't work. My thought is the person who they're speaking about specifically in this video is Ari. So when I looked in my Perry Mason vibration to find the collaboration, I was like, aha. Okay? Now, what did Ari said? She said that Ashley was looking for them two to do some things that 2 people of the same gender. I don't know how the household was going to be filled with children when Ashley was looking to bond with the woman. According to Ari, the women, the naked women walking around the house in their nudity, spent more time than they did with Demetria than she did with Derici. So I am of, and Ari can confirm or deny. My thought is that it is Ari they're speaking about in this clip here, and that they tried many times, is the dozens of women who she's saying participated in this, and then that's the one who got away because it became clear that she didn't succumb to Ashley's advances, allegedly. Now we're gonna go back over to the video. I just had to do that aha moment real quick. I don't know why the video showing it is tripping, but thank you for bearing with me. Hey, it's on the fly. I'm in the car, which I want. I'm doing my best.
Few instances where I started to see the violence between them two. And I started to realize that Ashley was being abused in some form or some manner. It was a few times. So one of the first things I started to see initially when I was in the house, before she and I started arguing, she was always with the children and he was never with the kids. And she just literally never had a break. And had I not been there, she wouldn't have had a break.
All right, for those who just joined, this is another episode of Seeking Sister Lies. No, this is noteworthy, but we are looking at what's happening with this Snowden situation. This particular guest, she was on the show with John Yates. Her name is Ari. She was one of the wives before they actually got on television. And now when she saw the whole fallout between Vanessa and Crystalline and Taylor, she decided to come forward with her story. It's a time where people seem to be willing and ready to hear what she's saying. Hey man, if y'all ain't heard the last few episodes, this has been crazy, but this is my noteworthy edition because we want to be able to get a little bit more. So now she's getting into the abuse that she witnessed, and let's continue to listen.
So I asked him if we can go to a spa. In Atlanta, there's a spa called Jeju, and they let you spend the night. So it's an overnight spa. And I ended up talking him into it, kind of guilting him. And he allowed us to go. So we were gone for 2 days. But when we arrived in the car, this is when I first heard them like yelling and screaming. And him more so yelling and screaming at her. And I was really concerned about it. She told me, I can just go right in. So I go into the spa and I'm waiting for her. She comes in and she's defeated. So she and I talk. And a lot of their arguments, the arguments that I witnessed was about her not wanting to perform oral sex or her not wanting to have sex with him because sometimes she does not want to have sex with him. I later find out why. He's slept with many women and he's given her a disease from what she's told me, chlamydia.
Oh.
So she rightfully just, I guess, didn't want to deal with him. So he was yelling, cussing.
Goodness merciful Father. This is you know what I noticed when I'm looking back at the show? When he's talking, she's like in her morning, like right up in her morning, like she's talking and she's like literally in his mouth, like watching the words to make sure, like, yo, you better not say the wrong thing. When y'all go back and look at the way they speak when they're in the little couch session, look at how they looking at each other, like you better not slip up. This is a lot. Verbal abuse, according to what she's saying, STDs. Father help us.
Fussing on the phone. That was the first instance. the second time, it was us coming back from dinner, and I was in the back seat, she was in the front, and they're just like going at it and arguing and screaming at each other. So I realized that their relationship needed a lot of work and they needed healing.
And how far into your stay there was this happening?
This was about 4 months in.
So, like, would you say, like, was it ever great there? Like, was there any first time?
The first 2.5 months was pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
You know who else said 2.5 months? That's about after 3 months, you start, the mask starts slipping. Crystalline, in the last episode, she was like, it was great for about 2 months, and then bomb. So after that 2.5, 3 months, the mask starts slipping and the true person comes out, right? Because if you put up a facade, you can only keep it up but for so long. And I have a theory. I'm going to show you my theory in a little bit, but I'm going to let her keep talking.
I mean, I started to see small things, but I'm like, it wasn't a big deal. Like the naked thing and that kind of thing, but then the violence, and the
naked thing wasn't a big deal. You walking around naked with no clothes, with your baby them, with him manhood, a swing and a walk around the place. Him leaving you in the bed next to a woman, where he filling up on her, then filling up on you. Maybe am I a prude? Cause no, sir. It's a big thing. I'm sorry. I got too much Caribbean blood, but what? No. And oftentimes when people praise a level of submissiveness, I'm not saying it doesn't have its place, but people look for people who are more inclined to be submissive and not push back, so that they can push your boundaries further and further. Because if they know that you'll open up your mouth, or they know that you will push back, it doesn't make for them to be able to get over on and do the things that they would like to do. Right? So for her to just have the nonchalant attitude, I think that's how and why they kept pushing the boundary further and further.
The interactions between them two kind of frightened me, because one of the things that attracted me to them was their relationship. They seem so loving and so kind to each other. But of course, you never know a person or people until you live with them. So I realized that it was a facade, and that he was an asshole, and that she was being abused, but she was also an asshole. They both became assholes. And what I noticed is that they were at their happiest when they were terrorizing me, when I was the enemy.
Like when they were attacking you together. I knew you were gonna say that.
Every time. And it's funny because I felt that intuitively, but I didn't know it until I read through his messages. So I'll fast forward to the whole night that the choking.
It's fun. Yeah. So you know that Chrissy just put in her RO that was an issue with her. Mm-hmm. So you had a similar instance with the same thing.
Yes, mine wasn't centered around, the intimate act. Well, one time was, but the other time was after I presented to him that I went through and found. I told him what was in it and what I suspected of him, or what I knew for a fact. And he went into a rage and he jumped up. We were in his office and he put his hands around. He was squeezing very hard. He pushed me over this table where there were guns. So Dimitri is a felon. Dimitri was convicted of car theft and when he was like 19, 20, and he spent some time in prison. So he also laundered money from a few charter schools in Ohio.
Is that the fraud case that's like in Indiana right now?
Yes, that's the fraud case.
For $45,000 or something like that?
Yes. Small businesses and in charter schools. So he...
y'all want to take a break? Y'all want to breathe for a second? It went from choking out the woman to I need to take a break. I'm writing down this. Now she's mentioning Indiana. There's a lot of state hopping going on from one state to the next. Let me just.
No, it's fine. It's a lot. And you're great. You're doing great.
Remember so much because it's a lot. It's a lot. So he was a felon. and he had guns. He wasn't supposed to have guns. I did not know he was a felon. I didn't know this was something that they did not tell me before I got to the house. They didn't tell me he was a felon. They didn't tell me any of his past. And of course, I didn't know that they were victimizing women before me either. So,
okay, real quick, how many women would you say before you they brought in, and potential sister wives or whatnot?
Man, like a couple dozen. I mean, I actually know about a dozen of them, and I can look for them on Facebook.
Did she say a couple dozen? A couple dozen? Chiba. Yo.
That have been in the house and have had bad experiences. There was one girl who wrote a whole blog about them, and nobody believed her. I didn't even believe her because they ganged up on her and they made it seem like she was a crazy, bitch. They would say those words referring to her. And yeah, she's crazy. So you have 2 against 1. And because they're so convincing, the same thing they're doing with Chrissy. Oh, we didn't do this. And we have text messages. That's bullshit. Sorry for cussing.
That's fine. No, it's bullshit. It's bullshit.
It is. It is. Because I believe Chrissy. I went through it. I experienced it. And other women have experienced it. But I'm first to actually.
Let's go back to that. You were saying that he, so can you go back to that?
Yeah.
Because that was and then Chrissy's claims got, rejected because of some text message that came to light.
So I'm in the office, and the night before I approached him with this and he attacked me, there was a woman, the man who you showed the video of the man, it was his...
Jay.
Yes, his significant other. And I found out that he was cheating with her and many other women, but he was cheating with her. And she was actually in the house. I was asleep, 3 a.m. I wake up. He's not in the bed. He's nowhere to be found. I go downstairs into the basement after searching through other parts of the house. And I saw the TV room. Somebody was in there. I saw him on the sofa and she was on the sofa. They were both asleep in the house that I'm in. At this time, Ashley fled and went to Cincinnati. She fled and went to Cincinnati and took the children. And this was after a big argument she and I had. And she didn't want me in the house anymore. And she was trying her hardest to get me out. And she hated the fact that Dimitri wasn't trying to throw me out of the house. Of course, he liked having me in there, I'm sure. So she wanted me out, and she decided to leave. So she ups and leaves. I didn't even know she left town. I didn't find this out until the next day. But she left town. So when she left town, the next, maybe 2 nights later, there was a Super Bowl party. And this was during the time that I went through his phone. I found those messages. And then the same night, it was the same night that I found him and the woman, because he didn't come back home from Super Bowl.
It was that Ty you're talking about?
Yes, it's her. I didn't want to say her name. It's Ty. So she's on the sofa. He's on the sofa. They're asleep. I go back upstairs and I go into my children's room and I lock the door. I didn't tell him anything until the next day. I asked him about the phone the next day. Because at this point,
let me play this. Let me play his video real quick. Let's just talk about this. Hold on one second. Let me just play it.
To another topic. We're gonna have to cut it here. It's so much to digest. There's so many ways that you can come to this conversation. Like she said, it's a whole lot. This is her lived experience, but they're going to go into something else. And it's funny, when I saw that video, I remember that video. It went viral a couple of years ago. And I remember seeing the video, and to hear the man in the video call out Dimitri Snowden's name, I'm like, wow, this is way deeper than any of us ever anticipated. So with that said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I just got to let this marinate in my mind. So we're going to have to come back for another portion to go over this last. I think it's at the end part. And then we're going to go look back in retrospect. That whole 2020, that whole Monday night quarterbacking conversation, so we could kind of see if there were red flags that we saw along the way and whether or not those red flags are now making sense. So with that said, this is Amuna. This has been Noteworthy. We will come back another time and talk more about this here conversation. Like, share, subscribe, comment below. 1.